Hello and welcome to Wonderland of Possibilities, where anything is possible and magic is real. My name is Venus Castleberg, your host, and so happy to be here with you all. Happy holidays from me to you, and thank you for being here, listening and watching today. Um, so when do you stop giving a shit? I wonder, when will you stop giving a shit? So I bring this up because the holidays are a great time for us to start cutting ourselves off, making like sacrifices for our families, um, doing weird stuff because it's the holidays or it's Christmas or whatever you celebrate, right? And what if you could actually not give a shit? Like, what if this holiday season, for the first, maybe for the very first time in your entire life, you started choosing what worked for you and not what worked for everybody else? Now, what works for you might work out for everybody else, but that's not the point. And right now I get to practice, like, not giving a shit that my cat has decided to eat the tree. But again, it's like there's all these weird things that happen or just things that happen that make us suddenly, like, stop being ourselves and stop having fun and stop being joyful and having ease in our life because somebody said something that upset you or somebody looked at you the wrong way. Oh, Lord forbid they look at you the wrong way. Or um, they do something that you don't want them to do, right? Like, and then we suddenly are like, we're in a bad mood, we're um, stressed out, we're like angry, right? And it's just like, okay, so let's just put all that down. Everything that everyone has done or is doing, let's just lay it down. And would you be willing to just look at it and go, okay, is this actually relevant? Does it really matter if my cat is eating the tree? I mean, I don't think pine is actually good for a cat, but it's her life, right? How many times with your kids do you try to control what they're doing, try to micromanage what they're doing instead of being like, "Okay, it's your life. You get to do with it what you want." And that in itself is one of the most empowering things you could do for your kids, right? Um, is just be like, okay, here are the keys to your life. You get to do with your life with it whatever you want. I mean, how did you learn what worked for you and what didn't work for you? You learned by making mistakes, falling down, scraping your knees, right? But there's so much of this, like, this control that we have to, like, control and make it all perfect and make it all, it's almost like you're writing a poem and you bought the lie that a poem actually has to rhyme. Poems don't actually have to rhyme, they can. Um, Hi, Christina, welcome. Um, so they can, but they can also just be, play off of each other, like, energetically play off of each other, right? So let's go back to family, right? So family is one of the number one relationships in family, or one of the number one places where we cut ourselves off. And um, if you can hear the jets, I apologize, but so, but what if you just didn't? It didn't matter to you what they thought of you. It didn't matter to you if everybody saw you as perfect. Hi, Adriana, welcome. It didn't matter if you were doing it right by them, right? Like, how many kids do you see getting piercings and tattoos just to rebel against their parents? But what if you didn't have to rebel? You could just be like, oh, okay, they're they have their points of view, they have their interesting points of view, and you don't have to be steered by it. You don't have to be impacted by it at all. And I'm going to give you a tool from Access Consciousness. It's one of the best tools I would say to have over the holidays with your family, with your relationships, with anything. It's called Interesting Point of View. And it's when your interesting point of view that they have that point of view, interesting point of view that I have this point of view, whatever. It's both sides. But you'll notice if you're like, okay, my grandmother thinks I should be married with children and I'm not married with children. So I'm using this as an example. This is not my grandma. Um, but like if you have that and she's projected, well, why aren't you married yet? Blah blah blah. Inside your head, not out loud, you would just say, interesting point of view, she has that point of view. Interesting point of view, she has that point of view. Interesting point of view, she has that point of view. And you can even smile and nod, right? And be saying this in your head and not listening to her at all anyway, right? But just for you, because then if you say that enough, you'll notice, oh, it's just an interesting point of view that my parents have or my grandparents have or whatever. And that's not me. And that's not what I'm choosing. And when do you stop giving a shit what they think about you anyway? But in the meantime, while you still care, maybe this is when you are like, okay, interesting point of view. They have that point of view. And then when you're triggered by something somebody's doing or not doing, you can be interesting point of view. I have that point of view. Interesting point of view. I have that point of view. And this will get you out of the resistance and reaction and the fight, the avoiding and defending and all that energy because you don't when you are fighting against something, there's this resistance. And then you have this resistance, it holds it in place. So anything you resist, you've heard this before, I'm sure, what you resist persists. So if you're pressing against something and you're avoiding and defending and you're being right and avoiding being wrong or whatever you're doing, right? All that resistance energy holds that energy in place. But if have you ever noticed that when, like, let's say your grandma does have that point of view, and you just decided one day you're just gonna let her think that you agree. You're right, grandma. I should get on that. I should I should get married and have kids very soon. You're right, grandma. Right? But you didn't really believe it inside. Did you notice that as soon as you had that energy of just letting her have her point of view, that the resistance is gone, the point of view is gone, they don't have anything to fight against. If you have somebody who's getting really angry at you and you're just interesting point of view, and you don't fight back an interesting point of view, they will run out of steam. They will not have anything to say. They'll be like, oh, la, la, la. But when you start to fight back or you start to resist and react or avoid and defend or, like then they have something to fight against. And then all of a sudden game on. And it just amplifies. Right? So your challenge, if you choose to accept it for this holiday season and maybe even beyond this holiday season, but holiday seasons tend to be a little bit more, they just tend to have a little bit more of this stuff going on. But whatever, is to be interesting point of view. Interesting point of view. They have that point of view, and interesting point of view. I have that point of view. And I wonder what that will create. I absolutely adore you. I am so incredibly grateful. I wish you the happiest of holidays so far. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.